I was blessed, to make smart investments, outside the ring, just in the real estate world and a lot of other places that I was able to put my family in a position that, I took the long road so they could take the short road. So
his accountants and lawyers screwed up, so the tax court said, hey, you were too late appealing this. You got to pay us back all the tax plus penalties plus interest. Moral of the story, pay attention to the deadlines on the IRS.
Read it, the real condensed version of it. What happened here?
Well, so Floyd Mayweather wants his dream house, and he was looking at a $139 million property in the hills of Bel Air.
Floyd Mayweather responded emotionally to rumors about going bankrupt and owing $500 million to the IRS. He dismissed these claims as deliberate attempts to harm his reputation, saying, "Everyone is entitled to their opinion." He defended his wealth by pointing to his extravagant lifestyle, adding, "If being bankrupt means owning 2 private jets, 100 buildings, and living freely, then I guess everyone would want to be bankrupt." His words reflected both pride and frustration as he tried to silence the speculation and prove he's still in control of his fortune and legacy.
Portfolios, because I don't know the exact number, because they said if you know how much money you got, you really don't have no money. So if you know how many buildings you got, you don't really have no buildings. So I think I own right now somewhere upwards of 100 buildings or more. And in, 99% of my buildings are in New York City. Great team, and God has truly, truly blessed me to put me in a position not just to be able to make a lot of money, but also give back, if not just my time, but also financially.
Mayweather filed an appeal, claiming he couldn't pay his taxes because he was out of money. However, the IRS rejected his request, stating that he missed the deadline to file the appeal. As a result, he was ordered to pay not only the original tax debt, but also additional penalties. This development added more fuel to the ongoing controversy about his financial situation, despite his repeated claims of wealth and luxury.
So, Money Mayweather is jabbed by the IRS here. What happened? Well, he took a large S-corp deduction for legal expense. The merits of that didn't even matter because he missed his appeal deadline of the denial. His accountants and lawyers screwed up, so the tax court said, hey, you were too late appealing this. You got to pay us back all the tax plus penalties plus interest. Moral of the story, pay attention to the deadlines on the IRS letters. Really sad they didn't do it in this case, considering the armies of lawyers and accountants he has. So, pay attention, hit your deadlines on audit, otherwise you're going to lose the appeal.
Despite Floyd Mayweather's public statements that he has settled all his tax obligations, the IRS later filed a lawsuit against him for unpaid taxes. This directly contradicted his earlier claims and raised serious doubts about his financial transparency. The legal action suggests that Mayweather may not be as careful with his taxes as he portrays, casting a shadow over his image of being in full control of his finances.
Floyd Mayweather is not up to date with the IRS. Shouldn't he be, considering how much money he's made during his career?
Well, in fairness to Mayweather, he did say he's already taken care of this problem. We don't know if that's true or not. We do know that a lien was filed against him by the IRS for back taxes. So let's take a look at what may have happened here. So as an example, when you talk about a boxer specifically having $100 million purse, that's the gross, not the net, because the boxer earns $100 million, and then he has to pay all the people around him and related expenses and so on. So just to kind of go through an example,
Mayweather has always emphasized that his wealth and fame are the results of years of hard work. He stated, "I'm not a liar. I worked hard to build my name and my reputation." He's been vocal about securing his family's future and creating generational wealth. According to him, smart investments, especially in real estate, have helped him grow his fortune from 8 figures to 9. Still, his bold statements about wealth contrast with the lingering financial issues and questions about how responsibly he manages his earnings.
I I need everybody, all the fighters all around the world, MMA, boxers, follow this man right here. We get the job done. Money, man, and y'all know the rest.
Mayweather has previously opened up about his struggles with taxes, particularly in 2015 when he was deeply entangled in tax-related problems. The fact that these issues still appear unresolved nearly a decade later suggests he hasn't been as proactive in dealing with his financial obligations as he claims. Despite earning massive sums, his ongoing tax troubles point to deeper problems with managing his wealth effectively, problems that have persisted for years.
He's had these tax questions. He replies to them by showing on Instagram $26 million, a payment he made to the IRS. By the way, nothing makes your tax payment look shadier than when you're just holding up cash.
Right.
That's not a good look for the IRS. But he showed his actual, $26 million.
They just pay him. Like, I don't know why, like, he's mad at the media. It's like, oh, you guys are making things up. No, it's leaked that you asked to pay after this fight. Like, you make all this money. If I was Mayweather, not only would I pay them on time, the IRS, I'd tip them. I'd be like, hey, here's what I owe you. Here's a little bit. Get your woman.
Although Mayweather insists he has enough money to cover his tax obligations, the IRS continues to pursue payment. Reports suggest that while he's spent massive amounts on real estate and luxury items, he's fallen short on paying his taxes. This raises serious questions about his financial priorities and his willingness to resolve his debts on time. It seems that his lavish lifestyle and focus on high-end investments may be taking precedence over his responsibility to fulfill his financial duties.
The government's calling bullshit. They're saying you have the ability to go and sell off property. You have the ability to liquidate some of your assets. You have the ability to go and get a loan to pay off this tax liability. So we're not buying it. So we'll see if this petition does get approved. I mean, it's Floyd Mayweather. It probably will get approved. Seeing as how the event that's going to happen in about 60 days is going to generate more than enough money to pay off that tax liability. So it's great reassurance for the IRS. And this is not the first time that Floyd's been in trouble with the IRS. I mean, back in 2008, he had a $6.17 million lien for taxes that he owed in 2007. Right? And this is just a recurring thing. He's had many other instances. You know, back in 2011, apparently he owed $3.4 million in taxes that were incurred in 2009. So it just seems that whenever the IRS comes for Floyd comes back for a big fight and uses a portion of the earnings to pay off the IRS. But whatever he's earning is also going to have high taxes placed on that as well. And so the following year or 2 years, he finds himself in the same situation. The money man, TMT. What it doesn't tell you, though, is that it takes money to make money. Right? Back in 2015, the year in question.
Well-known sports commentator Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back in criticizing Floyd Mayweather. He shared his disappointment, saying Mayweather was once his favorite boxer, but his behavior, especially flaunting his wealth while ignoring serious IRS issues, was hard to overlook. Smith's loss of admiration for Mayweather mirrors how much of the public now views the boxing legend.
You know, kind of sold that. It was great marketing. He's not a boxer, but hey, he was a knockout artist in the UFC. I get it. John Gotti III, I don't know anything about him. I'm not trying to disrespect him. And yes, I'm being smart. I'm not trying to disrespect the grandson of a mobster. Fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is this. When you're great, when you're elite, not just anybody deserves to be in your pristine space. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about on the street or anything like that. Boxing is your thing.
Mayweather has often bragged about his financial success, claiming he made over $400 million from just 2 major fights, one against Manny Pacquiao and another against Canelo Alvarez. The 2015 bout with Pacquiao alone brought in over $400 million in revenue, with Mayweather reportedly taking home a significant share. Yet despite these enormous earnings, the IRS filed a lien against him for $22.2 million in unpaid taxes. This not only questions his financial decision-making, but also casts doubt on how effectively he manages his massive fortune.
Who fought that night is fighting again, and they say that he's fighting for money. How could that be?
Your team. You know, it's all about who you surround yourself with. I don't know who's his promoter. I gave him the option before, but me and Manny spoke before about fighting the first time. I think I offered him, 40 million. I don't know if it was, but I told him I would wire him 20 million within 48 hours. And then at that particular time, he said he wanted 50-50, and he got off the phone. And at that time, I think I was going to make for that fight probably 75 million at that time, somewhere upwards of 75 million. But it's all about timing. I took my time, I waited, we communicated. Our investments leading up to the fight that week, we made somewhere upwards of 30 million cash. And then, you know, for the Canelo fight, smart team, once again, just with those two fights, Canelo and the Pacquiao fight, 400 million, just with those two fights. But it's all, you know, I was blessed. I think luck was on my side. I was blessed. All about timing. I came around at the right time. I was around in the 90s. Before, I built my fan base before all this social media. I had already built a fan base. It wasn't easy.
Floyd Mayweather's path to wealth and success wasn't easy. Raised in tough conditions and with his father in prison for much of his childhood, Mayweather often says he had to raise himself. Despite the adversity, he found purpose in boxing, a sport that would go on to change his life. His father, who was also a boxer, taught him early on the value of discipline and focus, lessons that became the foundation of his career.
Working odd jobs, just trying to make ends meet, mother on drugs, and I beat all odds to get to where I'm at today. So it just wasn't always the nice cars, the flashy jewelry, and a lot of money. So I'm more than just that, you know. I wake up in the morning just like you guys. I take a shower, I put on my clothes just like everyone else, and I try to make a better way for my family every day.
One of the most defining traits of Mayweather's personality is his unending hunger for more. He once said, "It's never good enough," a quote that captures his relentless drive for progress and greater success. While this mindset is impressive and has fueled his achievements, it may also play a part in the financial troubles he continues to face.